Hey guys and gals, it's Double V Billy Boudreaux back here on WGS-TV, and on this video, I'm going to take you back to March 21st, 1999. Why is this date significant? I'll tell you why this date is significant. It is the date for ECW's Living Dangerously pay-per-view in 1999, and of course the big match that was hyped up thoroughly throughout the night was the unification match with the unrecognized FTW World Heavyweight Champions Sabu took on ECW World Heavyweight Champion Taz. So let's go ahead and get this pay-per-view started, and hopefully you guys will remember somewhat about this pay-per-view because it was on WWE Classics on Demand. I watched it. That's how I'm able to do this review. The opening match, it was super crazy, and Tajiri. Now, the only times I've ever seen Tajiri is when he had the beard and he was wearing the pants. I've never really seen him, just starting out. And it was kind of unique. When I watched this match, you could kind of see, him, his development. The way he was going to be, especially with the style of martial arts kicks, the high risk maneuvers. And stuff like that. And the same goes for Super Crazy, even though he pretty much looks the same today as he did back then. But a very entertaining match on the heels of a rivalry. This was kind of the rubber match of sorts between these two. Super Crazy got the win. But this was a highly entertaining opening match. And then we have a segment with RVD and Sabu. RVD putting over the fact that he was defending his ECW television title against Jerry Lynn. And Sabu was going to become the ECW World Heavyweight Champion, or the Unified Champion rather. And of course, keep in mind, RVD and Sabu were the tag team champions as well. So then next we have Steve Corino. He was in the ring shooting up his mouth, saying, that he can be hardcore and stuff like that. So he wanted to challenge somebody, and out comes the hardcore chair-swinging freaks in the form of Balls Mahoney and Axel Rotten. Balls Mahoney is the one who was officially recognized in the match. And let's just say poor little Steve Corino got his head bashed in with a chair by Balls Mahoney to get the win in this match. Then bear with me, the next match, it featured Little Guido with Big Sally Graziani. If you don't know who he is, just picture me and add 400 pounds. Yeah, he's that big. I'm kind of big myself, but Sally Graziani, yikes. But now bear with me on this name because he's a luchador. Antifaz. I have the correct spelling. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but yeah, it was a luchador named Antifaz de Noel or something of that nature. But anyway, key point in this match was when Sally caught Antifaz on the outside and power slammed him through a table. Remember, this is a 500, 600 pound guy power slamming a guy that's probably less than 200 pounds soaking wet through a table. And Little Guido put on his version of the Sicilian crab, which really looked like Chris Jericho's lion tamer. I don't say the walls, because when Jericho did the walls, or does the walls, it's kind of a basic Boston crab. When he did the lion tamer, he had it more cinched in. He had it, set back a little bit more. Basically, when the chest and the head areas are the only ones on the mat, your stomach is up in the air. But that's what it reminds me of. So then we had an incredibly awesome match between Jerry Lynn and RVD for the ECW television title. And it was amazing. RVD can still go at that same level today, especially when after he's had a good joint. Jerry Lynn proved that, he was terribly underused in the WWE and WCW, and ECW at some points were using him properly. I wish he can go more today, but I guess maybe because of its age and his history with back problems and injuries, he probably can't. But what happened in this match is it was like move, counter move, move, counter move, move, counter move is kind of what happened. And at one point, it got to a draw. Now, normally in a draw, the champion retains the title. What it looked like referee, who was John Finnegan, by the way, he was going to award the match and the title to Jerry Lynn. Jerry Lynn said, no, I don't want it that way. I want 5 more minutes. And in that 5 more minutes, RVD hits the Van Daminator and then hits the 5-star Frog Splash and retains the ECW television title. Then there was a segment that happened. Well, they showed this. It would happen before the pay-per-view started. Lance Wright, who was their, portraying himself as the advocate for the World Wrestling Federation at the time, and a porn star, Jasmine St Claire. I have no idea who that is, by the way, guys. She was announced as a porn star, and I'm just going, well, they said adult film star, but we don't really know what that means. But I have no idea who Jasmine St. Claire is, because I'm not into that stuff. But anyway, so she's the new Queen of Extreme. She's the dominant lady of the ECW. Then out comes the head cheerleader, Francine. The reason why I say head cheerleader and not the Beastmaster or the Queen of Extreme, this is the gimmick she had at the time with the franchise, Shane Douglas. She was the head cheerleader. But she comes out, and Jasmine slaps her, and then Francine gives her version of the Stone Cold Stunner and punches Lance right in the dick. That's ECW for you. Then we had the incredibly violent match between New Jack and Mustafa, basically the gangsters going at it to see who's going to be the original gangster. I'm expected. You're expected to see violence beyond capacity when New Jack is involved in any kind of a match. You're expected to see, keyboard shots. He actually had a keyboard, computer keyboard, and he hit Mustafa on the head with it. And there was also a golf club shot to the balls. Mustafa got taped to a table, and New Jack leapt. He went up to like the second row, or second balcony rather, or second level of the building they had in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and leaped off of that part and splashed himself through Mustafa through the table. So, it was like whenever you see New Jack, hey, can you leap off that 20-foot thing through somebody on the table? Okay. So, New Jack, somehow miraculously, they got these two back into the ring where New Jack just covered Mustafa and got the 3 count. Then out comes the Dudley boys. They come up and they beat up New Jack and whatnot. And then the Dudley boys, well, Joe Gertner gets on the microphone first, and, yada, yada, yada. I'm Joe Gertner. Yeah, and I'm Double B. So, we basically cut a useless promo, to be honest with you, because I really didn't see the point. Even though Joe Gertner is a good talker, I just, the promo he cut was just utterly useless. He was just introing himself and the Dudley boys. That was all he was doing. But the Dudley boys end up challenging, throwing out a challenge to any 2 men in the back because there are no tag teams that want to step up to face them. There was one team was in the form of Spike Dudley and Nova. Now, at one point in this match, Spike Dudley is gorilla pressed and thrown into the crowd by Bubba Ray Dudley, a.k.a. Bully Ray. Excuse me. Soda. Anyway. Back to what I was saying, he when the crowd caught him, he body surfed throughout the whole arena. Yep, body surfed. But then the Dudleys get back on the microphone and says there's any one man with the the balls or with the nuts enough or something of that nature. And out comes Judge Jeff Jones, the referee turned judge, and here comes Sid. You know, a.k.a. Sid Vicious, a.k.a. Psycho Sid, a.k.a. Sid, I stabbed Arn Anderson with a scissors 17 times. That guy. Yeah. He came out in jeans and basically started beating up the Dudley boys, and then the Dudley boys turned the tables on him. And then he goes to the outside, and Spike Dudley comes back. He jumps Bubba Ray Dudley, and basically Devon gets power bombed. Bubba Ray Dudley. By the way, the match is still going on. By the way, ECW didn't stop the match, so there's still technically a match going on. And Spike Dudley hit the acid drop, or AKA the Dudley Dog, and got the pin on Bubba Ray Dudley, and then went to I guess friend hug or something. Sid and Judge Jeff Jones said, "Get him." And basically Sid powerbombed Spike Dudley through a table. Then one of the featured matches, it was a tag team match. Well, Shane, at one point let me explain the storyline. It's Shane Douglas and Tommy Dreamer taking on Just Incredible and Lance Storm, who later on go to be known as the Impact Players. But let me briefly explain the storyline behind this match. Shane Douglas, well, at this time, again, it's March 21st, 1999. And around this time, Shane Douglas was contemplating retirement, and he was really going to do it. I mean, they showed the video clip, Francine's in the ring crying, and Douglas is on the verge of, but he wanted to pass on his boots in the name of the franchise onto someone to carry on the legacy of that name. And then Just Incredible comes out, says he's going to be the new franchise, and then Lance Storm says he's going to come out and he's going to be the new franchise. And Shane pretty much corrected both of them, saying that you're not a franchise. You're not a franchise. The man I was talking about was Tommy Dreamer. That was a name that just came out of nowhere at that time. Because I thought Shane was kind of the heel character, and they made his character kind of turned face. If you think about that in the right sense. Now, if I remember what Joey Styles said correctly. On he said that it was a report on ECWWrestling.com at the time, and he said that I'm trying to remember correctly. I do apologize. That the tag team of Shane Douglas and Tommy Dreamer would not work, but it ended up. It ended up working. It ended up turning into a really good match. Lots of twists and turns. A lot of innovative stuff. And whenever you see Tommy Dreamer back in original ECW, but you expect to see that kind of stuff. Innovative kind of wrestling. Innovative uses of ladders, chairs, any kind of object that Tommy Dreamer can get his hands on. He has a chance of turning it into something very innovative and very entertaining. They end up getting the win, Shane Douglas and Tommy Dreamer. And also, at one point, Lance Storm was on the ground, and Tommy Dreamer DDT'd Just Incredible into Lance Storm's crotch. Yeah, that's innovation for you. DDTing someone into another person's crotch. But after the match was over, Cyrus the Virus comes out and intercepts the team, and then they get jumped by Storm Incredible. Then it looked like to me Jazz and Jason and Dawn Marie, who was going out there saying that she was Beulah McGillicuddy. They held her down. They held Francine down, and Cyrus put a coat over her crotch and headbutted it. Again, ECW, early to mid 90s, ECW in the 90s. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, on to the main event. I didn't have to watch it too much because I've seen it on so many different ECW DVDs, especially in the rise and fall of ECW. It was a very hyped up match. Taz and Sabu, to unify the belts. And what can I say? When you get Taz in Sabu, it's going to be a memorable match. So, and I thought it was really good, especially for a main event. It lived up to the hype back in the day. Taz puts on the Kaza Hajime, you know, the Taz mission. I hope I said that correctly. But, and chokes out Sabu and becomes the undisputed ECW World Heavyweight Champion. You know, gets, you know, the ECW belt and gets the FTW belt, which he actually made. You know, he actually brought into the company. So that's been my review. You know, the look back on ECW Living Dangerously in 1999. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any comments on the pay-per-view, leave your comments in the comment section below or in a video response telling me your thoughts on ECW Living Dangerously 1999. So, with that being said, I'm WB Bubba saying thank you very much for watching.